So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyden. And now, for the review of the day.
I got a review on this podcast here. Yes, Real Estate Rockstars podcast. Got a 4-star out of 5-star review by SEO Ninja. Let me tell you what SEO Ninja had to say. He said, I've listened to every podcast episode of Real Estate Rockstars since number 25. So it's safe to say I find a great deal of value in the content. I have 2 suggestions. 1, add a comment section to each episode page on hybendigital.com to allow agents to continue the conversation. That's a great recommendation there, SEO Ninja. And we have a couple of Facebook pages, Real Estate Rockstars with Pat Hyben and 6 Steps to 7 Figures. And you know they get some review, they get some comments on it, but you're right, that not nearly as much as I want or I've seen with others. And that's definitely something I should start spending some money on and just do it right there on Hyben Digital, right? I mean, because I could do it on hybendigital.com, right, and it'll just tie right into Facebook or wherever you want to, have the conversation. All right, and number 2 suggestion is limit the number of guests who are pushing products. A person can only hear. In our course, we teach ... so many times in 40 minutes before it starts to overshadow the intrinsic value of the episode. Thanks for all your hard work, Jason Patton, Warsaw, Indiana, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Jason, I appreciate this. This is really good feedback, and I'm going to take you up on both of those things. One of the things I did is, I think what happens is as you get more and more downloads, you start getting reached out to by more and more guests. And I tell them, I say, listen, you can't come on here and do a half-hour sales pitch on your product. Now, you could come on here and we can put a link on the end, talk about a link that we'll put so people can reach out to you afterwards, but you can't do a half-hour or 40-minute sales pitch. So, but they don't always listen. And we made a rule that we're only allowing 2 a month now that are, call them non-realtors, non-brokers. Let's just say what you said, people that have something to sell. Sometimes the people that have something to sell are great, offer incredible content. But the bottom line is, Jason, I hear you loud and clear, brother, and I'm definitely going to fix both of those things. Thank you. I love the feedback. I eat it for breakfast, guys, so thank you so much.
Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening.
Okay, Rockstar Nation, I have a great guest today coming out of New York City. Yes, I got Mr. Richard Grossman. He is the president of Halstead. Yes, Halstead, if you haven't heard of them, they're one of the top New York City real estate companies. And we're going to find out what's going on in New York City and what his agents are doing and what they're not doing and how the company is changing under his reign. So without further ado, Richard Grossman, welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Thank you, Pat. It's nice to be here, and I appreciate you having me on your show.
Hey, Richard, why don't you tell everybody about yourself and your company so we can get to know you better?
Sure. So first, let me tell you about myself. I'm a 35-year veteran in the New York real estate market. I came into the business right out of college, and I've been doing it ever since. I've been involved in many different facets of the business, from residential, commercial, development, and the last 14, 15 years as a leader, working with agents and working my way up at Halstead into presidency position. As as the company Halstead. We're a 1,400 agent company located based in New York City with offices in New York, Southern Connecticut, and Northern New Jersey. We have offices as far east as the Hamptons and as far north as Hudson, New York. So we are the largest privately owned independent real estate firm in the tri-state area.
I like that, in the tri-state area. That's great, and I'm sure you've probably had a lot of pressure to not be independent by being bought out by, Berkshire Hathaway or whoever, as many of the independents have been recently. How have you held off on that and not? We're
Sure, we're private ownership. We're a debt-free company. The company is we're part of a parent company that has many other real estate related businesses, from real estate, some of them as individuals, real estate development and ownership, as well as appraisal, insurance, other real estate brokerage firms. And, we've just been very lucky that our ownership has believed in us, believed in our expansion. When I joined the firm about 14 years ago, we were about 400 agents. We've grown quite a bit over the last 14 years. And the ownership just has a commitment to us in New York. And, that is how we've stayed sort of independent and quite frankly, profitable.
Wow. And so 1,400, and how long have you been president?
I've been president just over 2 years.
Okay. And what was your goal as, when you came in as president, and how are you manifesting that?
So, my goal as president was to help, along with, we have an executive leadership group of the company with a CEO and an EVP as the three of us, to just basically raise the sort of the profile of the company, to bring us to sort of into a new era. We recently went through, for instance, a rebranding of the firm, which we were very proud of. We worked with Pentagram, which is the largest branding company in the world, to come up with a new branding strategy for us that we've been implementing over the last several months. And it's really to help us just grow the company and grow our agents to be better at what we do, and to be just seen in a better light in our community.
So, it's interesting because on your website, right, you have our global network, and of course you have leading real estate companies of the world, Luxury Portfolio International, and then you've got your exclusive partners. Let me ask you about these things here. So, your global network. So, talk to me about what it means to be a member of leading real estate companies of the world, because many people listening have independent offices. We have a lot of people that are currently opening up independent offices. There's a surge of this going on, and how important is it to be part of a network like leading real estate companies in the world?
Well, first of all, we're very proud to be part of leading real estate companies of the world, and the Luxury Portfolio, which is the luxury area of the firm. The CEO of my company is actually the vice chair of leading real estate companies of the world. That's Diane Ramirez. I serve on the advisory council to Luxury Portfolio, and having and leading real estate companies of the world is the largest network globally of privately owned real estate companies in the world. It's an invitation only. It's just something you just can't go and join. You have to be invited to join the company, and you have to meet certain metrics to be part of the organization. And what it does for us is it gives us contacts all over the world. If we have a buyer that is looking to buy a property in California or in Europe or in Japan, we have a network that we can send them through to be put in touch with a real estate broker and an agent that has a similar culture to ours, because this is something we find when we meet people through the network, that these firms may be in very different parts of the world. They may be speaking different languages than us, but the service you'll get and the quality of the agent will be the same high quality that we're used to having, with our own agents. And that gives us when you're making a referral, the most important thing is that person's going to be taken care of in a good manner. And we know we have that when we give this referral through Leading RE. It also gives us a global perspective, so we get to see things that are happening not just on a national level, but also on a global scale. And it gives us an idea of where money is going, how people look at real estate, and in many, many different markets. As an example, back in around 2013 or so, was going to some of the conferences through Leading RE, because they have conferences throughout the year. I was able to speak to real estate professionals in other parts of the country. New York at that point was already doing well after the 2008, credit crisis, but the rest of the country was still struggling up until around 2012, 2013. And I was starting to hear from people in Southern in Southern Nevada, in Arizona, in markets that were hit very hard in 2008, that those markets were coming back. And you start to hear those green shoots throughout the country, and meeting the professionals dealing in those marketplaces gave us that perspective that we wouldn't really have been able to get anywhere else.
Yeah, interesting. I've always gotten so much out of masterminds of any sort, and that is essentially what it is, a mastermind of independent real estate companies. You've also got here your exclusive partners, New York Yankees, Mayfair International, and Audi. Does that mean that are those like relocation partners? What does that mean?
No. So they're, each one of them has sort of a different relationship. So Mayfair International is sort of like having our office in London. They're kind of like our man in London. It's actually a firm in London that we partner with, and they partner with people throughout the country. But we're the only.
So it's a real estate company.
It's a real estate. So it's sort of like having an office in London. It's a physical space. You can actually go there. They have window displays on their street level. You can put your property in there. It's a way to get into the European market, sort of through a local real estate company there. It's just one added layer that we can offer as a marketing service to our clientele. Now it's proved very effective. It's given us sort of an entree. It gives us occasionally some referrals inbound as well, but more importantly, it gets our property in front of buyers, and it's in front of European buyers. It's, there's no one way you're going to reach a buyer. This is just one more part of that equation to get your people in front of them. Now, that's very different from our Audi and our Yankees partnership, which are different from each other. So our Yankees partnership, that we're very proud to be the residential real estate company affiliated with the New York Yankees, and that gives us opportunity to have events at Yankee Stadium. There's a Halstead lounge at Yankee Stadium. There's some branding and signage there that gives us some exposure to the people there who attend games and watch the games on TV. Additionally, we've built relationships with players and player spouses and so forth. We've actually been able to get some business from them, as well as something we've been developing about giving them a second career or a career for their spouse if they want to sell real estate. Because sometimes this is a business they want to be involved with, and we give them that opportunity. Audi, whole different type of relationship. Audi partnership we did in order to provide to our agents some discounted cars and so forth. We get certain corporate discounts by being part of Audi, but they'll also provide us for photo shoots or films that we do, because we're actually we're known for our videos. We're very proud of them. And if sometimes let's say we're at a big mansion or an estate, we'd love to have some cars as part of that equation, and they'll provide us with the most latest luxury vehicles just to help with that branding and presentation. So they've been very effective, and we're very proud of our relationships. They've brought us a lot of direct business and also a lot of tertiary business as well.
Wow. So how many agents have been added to Halstead, would you say, over the last 24 months since you took over?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't want to say it's taking over, because we're a team here. It's not me. It's a whole team here. I would tell you that we probably added 200 or 250. We just went after our rebranding itself, which was back in April. We've added about probably over 100, 120 agents since we rebranded in Aprul.
So is that a result of advertising, of rebranding? I mean, it seems like such a simple thing.
Well, I mean, our rebranding really put ourselves in a new light. I mean, the company itself is we're a very dynamic company. We have a lot of resources. We give a lot to our agents. And part of what we wanted to do with our rebranding was to sort of present a new face to our community and to the agents in our community and so forth. And it really resonated, and we were able to, it was one of the pieces of the puzzle that helped us, people look at us and look at us in a new light. We're very, we're a very strong and dynamic company, and the rebranding helps people see us that way.
Brokers and team leaders, are you tired of seeing dwindling numbers at your monthly sales meetings? And I don't mean numbers as far as sales, I mean numbers as far as agents attending. Do you struggle with creating new and exciting content that will not only motivate your agents, but deliver actual results to them? Do you want your agents using proven sales techniques that increase their commissions? We've got the answer for you. Rebus University is launching a Lunch and Learn series you can purchase to provide structure and content to your meetings. The series has 12 30-minute trainings taught by me and top producers from around the world, and specifically is designed to increase production for your agents. Plus, when you purchase these trainings, you will also receive significant discounts for the go-getters on your team or in your office who want more training and bigger results. So don't delay. Go to hibandigital.com/teams. That's hibandigital.com/teams, or call Catherine Brower today at 843-749-9900. That's 843-749-9900. And get started with your Rebus University Lunch and Learn. So what would you say your value proposition is? I know there's a lot of competition with other real estate companies and brokerages there in New York City. What would you say the value proposition of Halstead is?
We're going to devote our resources to help our agents and to help develop our agents to be the best that they can be and to build their careers into making more money. I would tell you that's the value proposition we have to the agents in the community, to our consumers. We have the tools necessary to give your property the widest exposure so that we can ensure that we can bring you the most qualified buyers at the best prices. And I would say that two things.
And then tell you that. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you to engage me a little bit with the training. Like, what can an agent expect regarding training?
We have a lot of training here. So one of the core principles of the company is we believe in skill development for our agents. So that starts with a new agent coming into the business with no experience. We have something we call empowerment. We want to empower the agent to learn the tools necessary to be a successful agent. That extends beyond that. After the initial training, we have something called advanced empowerment. Our advanced empowerment are sessions that are geared to active, productive agents who are out there making a living and developing business, but how to do more of it and to get their business to the next level. There's a whole array of classes that we teach in there. Thirdly, we also have training at office levels, and that could be, from outside speakers, things that we do in-house, always geared to what's happening in the marketplace to help our agents, develop the skills that are going to help them compete well in the business as it's happening right now. And that changes. I mean, the business changes, the markets change, and you want to make sure you're 2 steps ahead of it. So your agents know how to react to the market, know how to offer advice to either their sellers or their buyers to help position them, to help them effectuate what they're trying to accomplish in the best way possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many companies, they train, but they're too busy training how not to lose your license and what not to do. Right? They're not talking about stuff today, like how you're dealing with changes in the market, specifically with a buyer or a seller or a type customer. So that leads me to the next question. As this now, the New York market is starting to shift a little bit, right?
Sure.
Tell me about that.
So, I mean, New York has had a 9 year run up of market when the rest of the country went through the recession of 2008 and 2009. New York bounced back quicker than any of the other markets in the country, and there was a lot of reasons for that. Not least of which was that the easement, the government bailout affected Wall Street. Wall Street is located here in New York. It helped our local economy. It helped our local economy do better. That it therefore helped our real estate prices on a local basis. There was a old comic a few years ago that the great bailout was so for Main Street, great for Wall Street, but was phenomenal for Tribeca. With the joke being is that our prices did well even after 2008, 2009, they started to rise. That coupled with lower interest rates, in my opinion, helped fuel price increases, and we saw a very steady, consistent price increases from 2009 basically through about 2016, 17. And about 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago or so, depending upon the price point, it started at the upper price point. We started to see some price hesitancy and some price erosion. And that is sort of extending now to a large part of our market, not 100% of our market, but a large part of our market is seeing that. They're seeing buyers hesitate because, quite frankly, the cost of owning for them has gotten more expensive. So we're kind of getting into an affordability issue right now for a lot of buyers where last year we're costing them about 10% more to own the same piece of real estate this year than it did last year. And that is, that's affecting prices. What we're advising our clients to do is to try to be ahead of that curve. I'm talking about our sellers, is to be ahead of that curve, that, that if prices are adjusting a little bit, price tightly so that where you think you're going to sell this is not the time to reach for a higher price, and to entertain all offers. Conversely, from a buyer's perspective, we're suggesting to buyers to put in reasonable, smart offers on properties, and we are seeing that with some reasonable, smart offers, we are seeing that that offers are being accepted through good negotiation. But quite frankly, some buyers are getting some very good deals today. Doesn't mean that everything is, and this is not, they're not fire sales. They're not. The market's not dropping, a lot. It's just a small adjustment. We're talking 8% thereabouts, depending upon it. Could be a little bit less, a little bit more, depending upon the property.
8%. What does that mean? 8% what? Less transaction?
8%. I would say the 8% off of where maybe the height of what the market was a year or so ago.
Okay, so if your house was worth $1 million, it'd be worth $920 today.
Thereabouts. And again, there's no every property is unique. You can't say that across the board. It may be worth $1 million. It may be worth $850. It may be worth $1.1 million. Every property is unique. What's the condition? What's the location? What are the taxes, or what are the carrying costs of the property? All those affect that. In a rising market, a lot of that stuff gets blurred because there's lack of inventory. Now that buyers have choices, they're focusing more on some of the basics they've always focused on.
So let's talk about that. So basically, and let's just use that scenario, right? Let's say, because even number $1 million, you got $920. It's worth now 2009 or so. That $920, what would that have been worth?
Maybe 800, 750.
800. So
we've had a lot of appreciation.
Well, it's not a lot, because 750, that'd be 75, that'd be 825. About 20%. 20% over 10 years. It's not that much. I mean,
but it might have been 750 to $1 million, and now we're giving back a little bit. Just keep that in mind.
Right.
So we shot over, and now we've come back a little bit.
So that's good. So like, how are you training your agents to deal with buyers who are now afraid of kind of catching a falling knife? If like it's worth $920, let me wait a little longer and it'll be worth $850, and let me wait a little longer, it might go back to where it was in 2009. Like how do you handle that? What do you say to your buyers there?
It's a good question. I think that part of it is just let's look at historical numbers. When you can never judge when the bottom of a market will be until after it's bottomed and it's come back up. It's better to look at the property, Say to yourself, is this a good value today? Is it something I can afford? Does it meet my needs? And am I here for the long run? Too many buyers focus in on what this apartment's going to be worth 6 months or 9 months from now, or a year from now. They need to think about what is the property going to be worth 5 years from now. I can't promise you what it's going to be worth a year from now, but I can promise you pretty much confidence that in 5 years it'll be worth more. And at some point you have to get in the game to be in the game, and you just have to take some confidence. I will tell you on a personal level, I think this is a phenomenal time to buy. I think there's some very good opportunities out there, and it's a little bit like waiting for clothes to go on sale at a department store. I mean, you wait for it to go on sale, but when it's on sale, you buy. You don't wait till it's you don't wait till it's at the rock bottom price, because then the selection isn't good and you've probably missed what you wanted to buy. There's some good opportunities. There's things available for sale, good properties, good locations, good condition. It's the time to act is now.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Right? Because when you wait till the end, and you just have this rack of all the crap, right? And that's what you have with all the houses.
And they don't have your size, and they don't have the color you want. I'd rather go in. We've been saying it's a little bit like we've been asking for this for the last few years. 3 years ago, if you asked the buyer what they wanted, they said, I'd like a little less competition when I go out and buy a property. I'd like it to be a little bit less expensive, and I'd like a little bit more choices. Well, we have all that today. So all those things are in the market today, and the fundamentals are still there. And I do believe that, as interest rates will rise a little bit, we'll get used to the interest rates, prices will even out, and things will rise. We've been through several market corrections. I've been in the business since 1983. This is probably my fourth market correction we've seen. The fundamentals are here on a long-term basis, to own real estate, to buy real estate. They're still here. They're still strong. All the reasons to own are here. And that is, if you secure a piece of real estate, your income's going to go up over a long period of time. So the marginal cost of owning will start going down as your income goes up. But you got to sort of, put the thumbnail in the wall to secure that in order for it to sort of, to go up from there. So, but you got to be in it to win it. You can't be on the sideline thinking, oh, when is it going to go down? Because by the time it goes down, and you know that it hit bottom, it'll be back up again.
As a member of the Rockstar Nation, you may have noticed that every guest that comes on the show now is required to bring with them a free tool, an item of utility that real estate agents can use to drastically increase their sales and profits. Some of the things that have been brought have been ebooks, forms, reports, negotiating techniques, hiring guides, postcards, checklists, open house secrets, newsletters that are sent out, sphere of influence forms, referral request forms, and the list goes on and on. If you would like to get this free toolbox full of items of utility, simply go to hibandigital.com/toolbox. That's hibandigital.com/toolbox, or simply text toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox to 444-999.
What would you say, like, comparable square footages, right? Is it cheaper on a monthly payment to rent in New York City now or to buy?
It's probably actually fairly close. The rental market took a dip about a year or so ago, and we've had a little bit more strength in that marketplace. I would tell you, though, with the fact that the prices have adjusted a little bit, I would tell you that it's about even. So maybe going to cost you a tad more to own than to rent for the same property, but I'm also going to tell you that you're going to probably end up for the same dollars in a better building and a better location versus where you're going to rent. I mean, ownership, the difference between living in a building that is whether it's a cooperative or a condominium versus a rental building is that you're living in a building of like-minded people who have an investment in the building who are going to want to take care of that building and make sure it's run. It's going to be less transient. In a rental building, they're a little transient. It's short-term. It's short-term people there for a short-term period of time. So you're going to pay a little bit more, but you're also going to get a lot more for the ownership.
Interesting. Very interesting. So what sort of technology are you and your agents using there at Halstead, or what are you recommending they use?
Well, we have a lot of technology here. We've actually went through a huge technological upgrade over the last several years, and a lot of the technology we have is proprietary to us. Some of it's is not, but at the center of our technology is our listing system called Resource. It's the most advanced listing system in New York right now. It has a lot of functionality around it in terms of alerts, in terms of making reports, in terms of the use of it and so forth, that agents can use. But in addition to that, we have a lot of ancillary things that are attached to it, including something called Instant Value, which is a system that you can put information in. It was actually developed by one of our associated companies. It's an appraisal company. It kind of helps the agent do a mini appraisal on a property if you're trying to do a valuation. We have something called Analytics, which is, again, part of our system, which is a way, if you want to do a very quick comparison of how one-bedrooms have, appreciated over the last 15 years in the West Village versus the East Village. We can do those graphics almost instantaneously. Additionally, we have some other technology, things like the open house electronic sign-in sheet that will not only capture the information of the buyer, it will also verify all the information they have.
Wait a minute. So right instantly. So let me get this straight. So I walk into an open house and you got an iPad and please sign in for security reasons. Sellers ask everybody
Correct.
to sign in, and then they sign in. I put a fake email address. How's it going to verify?
It'll tell me that it's a fake email address. It verifies email addresses, so it'll tell me if it's a fake email address. So there's, and again, I'm not a tech guy, but our technology will be able to tell you that.
What about a cell phone? Is it all that too? Cell phone name, everything?
I'm not 100% sure cell phone it works, but it does for your email. It'll give you it'll tell you who, if that is a real email or a fake email, and it would also, if it's a real email, it'll also give me other information about you as a potential buyer, so that I know that the person that I'm dealing with and it's seeing this property is legitimate.
So tell me about that. Like, what does it tell me? Like, let's say I'm a buyer. I walk into the open house. What information does it require of me, and what information does it give you?
Just your name and email address is all we require you to put in there. The system does the rest of that. And
so the system is going to look up what?
It's going to look up information on you to give me your name, to give me your, if you have a Facebook account, if you have other emails and so forth. The system, I believe, identifies all that information.
So it's just like it just does like a Google search on Pat Hyband, and then it'll come up with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
That it believes, so that you can connect with me multiple ways.
Correct, but it also then this will then speak to our CRM. We have top producer CRM. It'll also speak to our listing system. So all these things are connected, so that if you want to then work with that agent can then do a search for you and can keep in touch with you after you've met with them. Maybe that property wasn't the right property for you, and you're maybe just beginning your search. You're not ready to buy, but you want to see other things. This will then, we don't have to then enter this information 5 times. Conversely, it's also a way for the agent to follow up with the buyers after the open house. And the open house might have been, July 1st and August 1st, we have a price reduction. As a buyer, wouldn't you like to know that? We have a way to let you know that by just sending out one quick email to everybody that has signed in to say, listen, the price has just been reduced $10,000. If you're interested in the property, please contact me.
Yeah, and all that happens automatically.
Well, you have to tell it to happen, but yes, it happens automatically.
Yeah.
You have to then enter all the
program
emails.
it, and then boom. Yeah.
Boom, exactly.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. So what else do you see? What do you think? Like, what do you think the future holds for us the next couple of years?
I'm optimistic about the future. I think that, I think we do have some challenges. I think interest rates will rise over the next couple of years, and that's going to present some new challenges to buyers and to sellers alike in terms of affordability. But I do think as the economy is good and our both on a local level and at a national level, I think that more and more brokers and agents will be looked at as advisors, and those who spend the time to develop their skills and really give value to their customers, whether that's a buyer or a seller or both, will make a and can help them sort of make a difference in their transactions. I think that is where the business is going. I think this is going to be about service. It's going to be about relationships. It's going to be about things. In some ways, it's always been about. I think we use the technology that we have to help us do that better and faster and easier. But at the end of the day, real estate is still a very personal experience of buying and selling a piece of property. And every transaction is different, and every seller is different, every buyer is different, every property is different. And that part isn't changing in our industry. And it's just how we train our agents and train ourselves to recognize that and to provide real services for people. Whether it's pricing strategies, whether it's bidding strategies, whether it's putting together the right and marketing materials and so forth. All those things are what I think sellers want and agents want, and that part I think isn't changing. I think, quite frankly, I think it's become more and more important. People want to feel taken care of. People want to feel a special experience working with somebody, and to the degree that agents can provide that, they will be very important part of the process. To the degree that an agent can't provide that, I think they're going to that is going to go, but their business is going to suffer, and they're going to become less relevant because it's no longer just about the market helping rise agents and rise prices in terms of getting the listing. You have to develop the skills to really sell it and market it correctly.
Yeah, you're going to have to be better and better. Basically, is what you're saying. Is as an agent, the bar is being risen simply because the erosion and what's taking place, as you say. Because of what's happening, because of IT.
And because the information is so readily available to the customer. Our customers often know as much as we do, but what they don't have is our experience. They don't have had the experience of participating in 100 bidding wars or in how we price something in a market that is either rising or falling. I mean, it's very easy, to price something today, but if the market's going up, you may be missing on value. Conversely, if the market is adjusting downward, if you price too high, you may hurt yourself in that transaction because the price is, better. It may be better to price it a little bit lower today and get the sale done rather than to wait 6 or 9 months and see that the market went further down than you thought it would be, and you could have done better by selling for a little bit less earlier on. This sort of the advice we give, the counseling we give, comes from experience, and it comes from both having successes, but also making mistakes. And if you learn from your mistakes, as we all learn from we all make mistakes, but if you learn from them, you'll be able to then use that advice to help other people avoid making the same mistakes. And that's the value we have as agents in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely, right. I mean, there's always going to be a difference between an Uber driver and a limo driver. There's always going to be a difference between a LegalZoom and a top litigation attorney. So I think that the gap is just going to get bigger, and you're going to just have more. The people that are going to make it, the real estate agents are going to make it, are going to be the ones that are higher on the extreme level, right? They're the top, like a top doctor, top litigation attorney, or a limo driver in that analogy, right? And let the artificial intelligence do the bottom part.
Correct. And think about a doctor. Do you want to go to a doctor that this is first transaction? Of course not. You want to go to a doctor who has experience doing the type of procedure that you want. And real estate is so local, so specific. My company, we cover real estate in 3 states. I'll be honest with you, I've never, on a personal level, my expertise is in New York real estate more than it is in Connecticut or New Jersey real estate. And I look to my local leaders in those marketplaces to tell me how things are done there. I know how to navigate my marketplace very well, but it's about local knowledge. It's about local relationships, and it's about that experience that is going to make the difference in a transaction. And I see this every day. I see this with agents that know what they're doing, they're experienced, they're skillful. They can effectuate a much better transaction for their client base, whether it's a buyer or a seller, than the agent that's coming in here that doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't really care to learn, but maybe is just trading on the fact they have good relationships. Good relationships are great, but people are looking for people with skill and ability. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely agree. All right, Richard. So, everyone that comes on the show brings with them a free gift. And what we do with this free gift is the Rockstar audience can go to the show notes, which, by the way, guys, I'm going to put all of Richard's information. I'm going to put all of Halstead's information. If you want to reach out to him and say hello, send one of his agents a referral, anything you want, it'll all be there along with his free gift. I'm going to put it at hybendigital.com/Halstead. That's hybendigital.com/Halstead, HALSTEAD. Richard, what is your free gift today?
So it's 10 tips for building a culture that promotes success. And I basically have sort of my 10 points of how I sort of view success, in a real estate company, and the success that all of us should even follow just as individuals to be better at what we do every day. And I'm happy to read them off to you if you want, or we can just post them for people to look at.
I'd rather make it part of the thing. That way they can print it out and stick it right in front of their desk and follow the leader every day, right? Let's put it up there. Again, it'll be on hybendigital.com/Halstead, and I also will put it in the Agent Success Toolbox, which everyone could get. So it'll be there along with over 100 other gifts that guests have brought on the show. That'll be on hybendigital.com/toolbox, or texting the word toolbox to 444-999. Richard, this has been a blast. I wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors. I hope you come back on the show in another year and you've broken the 2,000 mark as far as number of agents.
Pat, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. I think very highly of you and your show, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Best of luck to you, Richard. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, and we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hyben. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram, as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and keep rocking.